All right, so one of the things that hasn't made much sense to me, like my whole life, that would definitely be small talk. And I know it's like for social reasons and to be friendly with people, you don't really know. But I guess in terms of actual like connection or knowing someone, I feel that small talk is just really shallow. I mean, I guess that's pretty widely known, but it's just really just that information about the person that isn't really relevant to like the relationship that you can build with them. So I wanted to talk about a different dimension of knowing someone, which is, I guess I would describe it like in my own personal experience as understanding like someone's nature. And again, like I'm going to relate this to meditation and my experience with that, because I think understanding this part of someone else, a big part of it first has to come from you understanding your own nature. And I think understanding your own nature, or whatever I'm trying to describe right now is like your nature, that comes from observation of yourself. And yeah, like, that sounds like a way of describing meditation. Just no thinking, but just observing how you are without any action, any thoughts, just your way of being, really. And I think that's really a critical part of relationships and understanding other people that a lot of people, they don't think about, or they don't see its significance. And I think personally, like for myself, I have a little sister who is, we have a quite a big age gap. But so whenever I said that, my point with saying that is, we've never been like best friends, or because we're different genders and we have quite a big age gap, and we just don't have like the same personality or interests or anything like that. But it's interesting because that's the first human being that I've known since they were born, and I've had a relationship since they were born. And of course, I'll have kids one day and I'll be able to experience that again in a different way. But one thing that I feel like I've noticed is that her nature has never changed. To me, her nature has never changed since she was a baby. And that's just like, if I just am there with her, sitting with her, just spend enough time like not talking or doing anything in her presence, it just feels like my little sister. It's always felt like that since I've known her. And of course, her personality's changed. She's grown up in many different ways. A lot of things about her life have changed, but I feel that her nature has never changed. And I think a lot of the times we identify ourselves with the personalities that we have, but I think really you can look at personality as like a mask that you put on. I know people really think that someone's personality is like a very deep part of them, a very genuine part of them, but even I think your personality changes depending on whatever situation you're in, I mean, do you really act the same like around your friends that you do around your parents? You're not gonna like say bruh and cuss and shit. So I think, we have different masks for different situations. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but I think something that's really important is understanding a more fundamental aspect to that, which is, I'm describing it as like your nature, kind of like your way of being. And I think that's really you. That's something that you can't change. It's no matter what mask you decide to make up, or whatever situations you go through, your fundamental nature, the way you are, it never changes. I feel like just like I don't even want to say anything specific to kind of give the wrong impression, but I feel like sometimes just the way I walk, or the way like certain mannerisms I have, or just certain orders of doing things, I feel like that's just an integral part to me that would just never change. It's just the way I think, or the way I am. So yeah, like I was saying, small talk, I think it doesn't capture a lot of a person. It doesn't capture a lot of a person. And like, for example, a really good personal example I feel about this is like if you've experienced like a college orientation. I remember like the first year, you know, the classic thing is like, what's your hometown? What's your major? Yeah, like stuff like that, information like that. And like, to be honest, like, does any of that, whenever you just hear someone, they say that, does any of that really stick with you? If you meet 50 people like that, are you really gonna remember that? I think a much more significant way of knowing someone is actually doing something with them. Even like if you just sit in silence with someone for like 5 minutes, I think that's much more productive in terms of getting to know that person than just having small talk and just thinking about whatever information you're exchanging. And I think there's an exception to that, because it depends if that small talk or information that that person is sharing with you, it depends if those are like significant memories to them. If it means something to them, then I think that does give you somewhat of a deep understanding of that person. So that's significant in that way. But yeah, I've always thought, like, if I really want to remember someone, like I made a new friend, like I just met someone, if I really want to know them, then I need to like just do anything, really, like just walk somewhere with them, get some food with them, just any sort of little errand or anything, because just being with that person, and I feel like as an intuitive person too, this is kind of a very significant thing, that if you identify yourself as more of an intuitive person, you might understand this more, but just being with that person and seeing how they just live, like in any sort of situation, it tells you a lot about that person. And it's something that you can't put into words. It's just, you just capture it by experience. Okay, yeah, it's just a different sort of thing you kind of absorb. And yeah, like I said, I don't think a lot of people focus on this aspect of knowing someone. Another, common everyday situation, I think, is like whenever you're in the car with someone. I think if you're really comfortable with someone in the car, like a family member or a close friend, you don't have to talk. You can just sit there and like drive somewhere. And I think that shows a sign of intimacy that signifies a deeper understanding between those two people. And yeah, I think if you want to experience more of this, the first step is to try to understand your own nature. It's to first just observe yourself and try to understand what you are. Because then if you experience that more about yourself, then you can kind of see what to look for in others. Because, a lot of people these days are just like busy and preoccupied, and they're constantly just doing something or thinking about something. And it's always about the external activity rather than the internal nature. So yeah, just something interesting I thought that I would like to talk about. Yeah, that's it. Another thing I'd like to mention is, if you watch those 2 videos I've made with my friends, like whenever I went outside, those are actually people I've known since 4th grade. And they're not my best friends now, but they've been my best friend at different points in my life. And I think I very much understand their nature. And it doesn't matter if I don't talk to them for months or even years. Whenever I come into contact with them again after a long period of time, the dynamic of the relationship is almost completely unchanged. Just because I think your fundamental nature just doesn't change. And of course, I feel that, with immediate close family members too. Even though, these people that I've known for so long, they may not know, the most recent events that have happened like in the last year as much as someone else who has I see more regularly, like in class or something. But even though that person knows more about me, knows more about my recent events, I still think those people who understand my nature more, who I've developed more of an intimacy with because of this this aspect of the relationship, I think they understand me and know me a lot better. And just automatically, whenever you see that person, it's just the dynamic of the relationship is just exactly the same, because I think you understand each other's nature. And I think that's just a really beautiful thing, It's just a really beautiful thing that's always there. And I definitely think that's a significant aspect of life, yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's it.